Well, the 9th annual Moshito Music Conference and Exhibition, South Africa's most influential music industry market, comes to an end today. To take a look at the business of music, we're joined by Thobela Dlamini, who's Project Director of Moshito. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, Thobela. Let's get straight into an idea of the industry, the music industry in South Africa specifically, in terms of the kind of size we're looking at, the growth we're seeing in the sector relative to what we're seeing in the rest of the continent.
Come again?
Just looking at the growth of the music industry in South Africa, how's it comparing right now to what we're seeing in the rest of the continent?
I think our music industry sector in South Africa is basically growing in leaps and bounds. Looking at the rate of how many people in terms of Africans that are coming in here to come and want to work with South African music, it's a sign that we are going to the right direction in terms of growth. From where we are sitting now, we were a small country in terms of music development, but now we look like we are a hub. Hence, everybody wants to come here. Every big DJ wants to come here and make a remix with one of our artists. Every artist wants to feature some of our artists. It tells you that we are moving. The growth is exactly going to the right direction.
Of course, acting as an incentive for any musician would be commercial and financial viability. I mean, the financial value of music is the quantity and quality of a crowd it draws. This was a comment I came across at last year's conference specifically. Being emphasized was that making money in this industry is about monetizing the crowd specifically. To what extent are musicians starting to get that right?
I think our musicians are getting it right now, because people are doing music, yes, in terms of them having to make money out of it, but at the same time, others are it's fun. But where we're going now, we're going to a direction whereby our artists are learning to manage their finances far better. Our artists are learning to handle, money when money comes through. So the financial spin-offs for artists, they are looking at it from a very positive point. And there's a shift in terms of saying artists are now saving compared to then. So there's growth from a financial point of view to say we need to make sure that as artist managers, as artists, look after our financial resources in the right way, of which I strongly believe that we are moving in the right direction.
Of course, that in turn has a ripple effect into the broader economy in South Africa as well. To what extent is the music industry now contributing to growth in South Africa?
I think in terms of our financial growth, looking at our GDP, we don't have the exact figures currently, but I can tell you on top of my mind that the contribution that the music industry is actually having on the economy in general is quite huge. You look at how many people get employed around the industry. We've got road managers, we've got people that do sound, we've got people that are your makeup artists. It's different spheres of life. If we can look at that number, that will clearly tell you that the contribution that as the music sector we putting onto the GDP is quite huge.
For that to continue, we've got to deal with issues around piracy, for example. Just how much of a risk does that pose?
It's a big risk. Make no mistake about it. It's a big risk in a sense that when you look at the piracy situation in South Africa, it's so rife in a sense that you release an album today to find out in the afternoon, you release in the morning, in the afternoon it's already on the road. 10,000 copies gone down the drain. I think it's one issue that we are grappling with. We are busy fighting. The main important thing is not only about the people that are selling, it's about the people that are buying. So there's an educational drive that the DTI is coming up with to teach the ordinary South Africans on the road to say, look at the bad side of this thing, to say when you buy Elvovo's music for argument's sake, you will be killing him in this particular aspect. So people need, we're still trying to even educate our public out there about it. So it's a very big issue.
Tobela, as I highlighted earlier, this is the 9th year this exhibition is actually underway. What's new this time around when it comes to conversation?
Let me tell you what's new. What's new is that this time around we've turned Moshito around in a sense that we've made Moshito not to be a talk show. We have made Moshito to be facing reality. Issues that were discussed over the past 3 days, issues pertaining to digital, sales vis-a-vis the physical sales. There were issues around the artist, growth on the 21st centuries. So those were issues that were like not just discussing them, but we came out of the conference with tangible resolution and solution to say, this is how we're going to take it forward. Not before. Before we used to go to Moshito, we'll talk and talk and talk. When I came in, fortunately enough, a month back, then said, we need results. which I can stand here and say we have the results to date. If you can ask anybody who was in Moshito this year and last year, they will tell you that this year's discussions were far, 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 far away